Going to be, as far as the functions from the state this morning, we're going to be very brief. I'm going to be very brief with some statements. This is going to be very matter of fact. And then we're going to have, I believe, a special presentation from the Kentucky Center for Statistics. And if we have any persons from the cabinet, whether it is the Deputy Secretary or the Commissioner, Dr. Price, on the line, I'll give them an opportunity to speak. And then I will give you the opportunity to ask any questions that you have on your heart. So, let me just start off with this. We want to expect the most from the Kentuckians that we serve. And in order to expect the most from people, then you have to value them. You have to see value in them in order to expect the most from them. And as we expect the most, then we are going to, the intent is to provide the best. As far as adult education services and programs are concerned, we want to provide the very best services that we can provide for the people that we are expecting the most from. And that's not only us, it is that the state of Kentucky is expecting the most from them in totality. Because in order for the state to be successful and do the things that it wants to do, then all Kentuckians need to be engaged in the process. So we're going to expect the most and provide the best as we serve. So moving on, the adult educational goals. We all know them. You know them a lot better than I do. I've been here 9 months. Many of you have served this Commonwealth for many, many years, and we thank you for your service. Enrollment, the enrollment goal across the state is 20,000. The GED attainment goal per fiscal year is 5,000. The measurable skill gains negotiated rate is 51.4%. Not 53.4%, it's actually 51.4%. That's another conversation. We won't have it here, but that is the goal. So that's 20,000 enrollment. GED attainment is 5,000, and measurable skill gain negotiated rate with USDOE is 51.4%. Now, real time, current performance, statewide, as of March 7th, 2022, with a state enrollment goal of 20,000, the total enrollment is 6,692. Targeted enrollment is 6,065. GEDs attained is 1,534. Measurable skill gain achievement rate is 36%. Nothing more needs to be said about that. These numbers are as of the 7th of March, 2022. That's Monday. So we are in a position where we need to run faster and catch up, as we are exceedingly below the standards. I know that you all are working hard, and we have smart and very capable people serving the folks in Kentucky, but we need to run, and that's me included, a lot faster to reach our goals. That is our report card. We are graded by both the state and the federal government. So we need to run a lot faster as we close out this third quarter and move into the fourth quarter. And I know that we will finish strong. So I'm very confident in that. Service obligations. Service obligations. We're talking about, and we are funded, and the law specifies and mandates that we provide full spectrum adult education services. Full spectrum adult education services as specified by the federal law entitled to WIOA. You all know it a lot better than I do, as well as the state law, the Kentucky Adult Act of 2000, Senate Bill 1 from 2000, full spectrum adult education services, which includes GEDs, certainly not exclusive to GEDs. It is workforce preparation. It is transition to the workforce. It is upskilling to include all of the 5 types that fit into the measurable skill gain category. It is family literacy. It is transition to college, post-secondary, and all of those things wrapped into one, not just the GED. Full spectrum adult education services. The federal law changed in 2014. This is 2022. Full spectrum. That is where we are. That is the law. That is how we will move forward. This is not to minimize the GED, but the GED is only one component of what we are mandated and funded to do by both the federal government and the Commonwealth of Kentucky. I just want to make that clear. Just want to make that crystal clear. So those are the goals. I have identified exactly where we are as far as current performance based on the goals of the state and the federal government. And I want to be intentional with respect to service obligations as it relates to full spectrum adult education services. So those are the nuts and bolts of what we're doing as far as performance is concerned. Now we're going to move into something that's a little lighter. And we're going to get into hails and farewells. So it is my intent to be transparent as we transform and modify and do some different things, and we welcome new people onto our team, and certainly as we give people their flowers as they have served the state of Kentucky, this office, and the citizens of Kentucky very, very well. So we will start off with the farewells. Since the second quarter meeting, Anna Larson has moved on to bigger and better things. She is now the executive director of CDO in this cabinet. So she has moved on to bigger and better things, which is exactly what we want. We certainly thank her for all of the many things that she has done and the things that she will continue to do as a partner. We want to give her her flowers and certainly recognize her service and those things that she did. So that is the only significant loss that we have had, I believe, since the second quarter. And if I'm mistaken on that, I will circle back and make adjustments. Now, hails. Since the second quarter, we have been blessed to bring some very capable, very talented, very motivated individuals onto the team. I'm going to start with Miss Lisa Taylor. Miss Lisa Taylor is the director of the Program Administration, Accountability and Compliance Division. She is a superstar. She has hit the ground running. We are exceedingly pleased with the things that she has done in less than 30 days. And she is climbing a hill and doing things that we need done, that the citizens of Kentucky need done. And we certainly want to welcome her. If you don't know her, you will know her, because she will be coming to visit you up close and personal. And we will get back into the mode of site visits all over the state of Kentucky, and she will be leading that process. So if you don't know her, you'll definitely get to know her. We're certainly pleased that she is on our team. Secondly, Gloria Gardner. Gloria Gardner just started. She just started. She has joined the team, and she has a multitude of skills. She has a multitude of skills, and she did something yesterday, and I told her I knew we hired the right person. So she is a wonderful person. She has a wealth of experience and knowledge, and you will get to know her because she will be touching everyone in the office and in the state. You will certainly get an opportunity to know her. We have Dr. David Harter to join us. This is a young man that works with the Academy and he has hit the ground running. Many of you have already met him as he has incorporated some metrics and done some things with some graphs and used his big brain to take us down the path that we need to go. So we certainly welcome Dr. Potter and all the things that he brings to the table. So we are certainly appreciative of his skill sets. And then we have Lita Ann Martin. Now, you probably already know this young lady because she worked for the academy and she was a member of the team, but now she is an official member of the state team. And she is a wonderful, wonderful person with a multitude of talents. And she will be doing something unique. This is a new opportunity for us. She will be working with apprenticeships and fair and second chance citizens. So we're doing new things within the limits of the federal and state law, and these are things that the state of Kentucky needs done. So we certainly want to welcome her. We had some people to move. Heather Ballard. She just is a jack of all trades and she does all things, but we have found a spot for her in the program administration division. And she is transitioning, although she's still doing 10,000 different things in the transition, but she has moved as well. So we want to recognize her, and you will get to see her more and know her in a different role. So just want to be intentional about that. From a comprehensive standpoint, so I talked about that Anna Larson left. She moved on. So there is a vacancy, a director vacancy. I am happy to announce, so I won't say this person's name, but the cabinet has made the decision on a young lady who will come here and set this place on fire. She has a wealth of experience in leadership, in outreach, and a multitude of other things. So she is going to come in and she's exactly what the doctor ordered, and she's going to bring her experience and all of her subject matter expertise to bear. And we're going to get at this enrollment problem that we have, and she's going to be the lead of that. So when we have our next meeting, fourth quarter, you will have an opportunity to meet this person. And I am sure, just like the rest of the people in the cabinet, you will be impressed with her. And lastly, the deputy executive director is still vacant. And during the second quarter, we had an opportunity to give Jacqueline her flowers as she moved on, and for her service of more than 10 years as serving the state of Kentucky, but that is vacant. So that position should be posted and listed at this time. And if it's not, perhaps on Monday or on Tuesday, it should be. And if that is something that is on your heart that you think that you might be a fit for, or you know someone, then we certainly encourage all to apply. So there we go as far as hails and farewells and some of the business inside of this office in Frankfort. And if Scott from Kentucky Stats is on the line, I'm going to turn it over to him. And he is the definition of a subject matter expert on statistics. Is Scott on?
I am on. Can everybody hear me okay? All right, great. So first, thanks for letting me have some time here. Again, Scott Secamilio. I work for the Kentucky Center for Statistics, or maybe KY Stats you've heard us called. What we do is I'm going to show first a quick presentation. It's going to take a few slides before we hop into some fun stuff, just so you get an idea of what we do. It's probably easier to see pictures anyway. So what we have here, our main goal is to connect data from different agencies. So what this means is we house data from preschool all the way through the workforce and a lot of peripherals. And we connect this over time, what's known as a state longitudinal data system. We can answer questions that when data remains in silos can't be answered. And so we do this to better inform our Commonwealth. And this includes everyone from policymakers to practitioners like you and the general public so that they can be better informed. Here's an overwhelming slide of all the data we have. So you can see ranges from K-12. So we have students and teacher and career tech ed. It goes on to post-secondary, which is everything from our 4-year publics and privates to 2-year public schools. We have adult education data, of course, that's submitted through your agency. The Bureau of Labor Statistics, so we're talking unemployment rates and projections of occupations and wages. And you can just see so much more on here. So all of this is connected in our system. It's de-identified, so there's no way for us to know who's who. So, security and privacy of our fellow Kentuckians is our top concern as well. But you can see the power that comes from having all of this data here in a minute. We're one of the only states to do this. So a lot of states have a state longitudinal data system. However, we're the only one that has everything that I just mentioned in one spot, including health and family services. So the data we get from them includes things like SNAP and TANF, your food stamps, Medicaid data, and vital statistics, so your death and birth records. So we hope one day to be able to do a birth through death as far as providing data that might be, even better, especially for adult learners and people that you might be looking to help. So we're governed by a board. The Secretary of the Education and Workforce Development Cabinet is the chair, and then representatives from the Department of Ed, Council on Post-Secondary, Kentucky's Higher Education Assistance Authority, so financial aid data, and of course the Secretary from the Cabinet for Health and Family Services. So when we do create our research agenda each year, we do have representatives from all of them as well as other agencies. Adult education has had say as well in the past. So what we've come up with is these are our 4 main areas of focus. And so the first one is identifying and informing the Commonwealth about equity issues and barriers. So that's as we continue over these next couple years, our reports will be geared towards equity. So that's showing outcomes not only for the state and areas as a whole, but whether that's gender, whether that's race, whether that's background, whatever it might be, we want to split out as much as we can to provide information on this so that people can make decisions on how to change some things, and it could be systematic changes as well. And then you can see the rest here. Some of the major things we are Kentucky specific, right? But we've started working with other surrounding states to bring in some education and workforce data. So now we know, if you do earn your GED, you do go to a college, maybe in state or out of state. Are you returning and working in Kentucky? Are you working maybe in Ohio, say Cincinnati? So we're going to start to be able to answer these questions even more. And these are the kind of reports we put out. So we use this reporting software called Tableau, which allows you to just go in, select as many things as you possibly can, and it'll filter and be able to be printed in front of your eyes. So just real quickly, there's our contact information, our executive directors, Dr. Jessica Cunningham, and of course my email if you want to ever reach out and have any questions. But what I'm going to do now is show the example of the report we have. And John, how many more minutes do I have here? Maybe 2 or 3?
You have as much time as you need.
Okay. All right. So let me get this up here. This is our website. So it's kystats.ky.gov. You can see anything about us that I talked about, including legislation and when we have board meetings, if you would ever like to join. You can find all of our reports here. You can see labor market information there. If you can't find something in our reports, you can always request data. But here's how I'm going to teach you how to get to this report. So you'd click reports. You can click any of these subject areas. We're going to look at adult education. And you're going to see what's called the Skills U Feedback Report. And this name, of course, will be changing. This was last published in May 2021, and we'll have an update around the same time, maybe early June this year. If you ever want to play with the data yourself, you can always download the public access data file as well. So I'm going to click full report here, and it's going to bring you to this interactive report. Always with our reports, you can navigate with these buttons at the top. If you want to follow us on social media so that you're never behind on when we release reports, feel free here. It's at KY Stats on any of those. And we want to be very transparent of how we do things. So tech notes and walkthrough, if you need a refresher on how to use the dashboard or how we calculate things, you can click that. It'll bring up a PDF for you to better understand that. So after working with adult education for the last 5 years on, this is the 5th iteration, I believe. So if you're unaware of this report exists, hopefully now you'll know where to go for all your data. It's evolved over time. So this first part's a county profile, really understanding what your county looks like. And so we have different metrics here, like the total population, the population 18 to 64 years old. Of those, how many of that working age population, how many don't have a high school diploma, how many people are living in poverty, don't have medical insurance or eligible for Medicaid, low-level ELL for the working age, and the median household income. And you can switch through all of those in the map to see how that might change. So, if you hovered, you can see Scott County, 8% have less than a high school diploma in that working age. The darker it gets, the higher. So in Clay County, around 32.5%. So that's how you can kind of see what's going on immediately. If you click any of these counties as well, it's going to filter this bottom piece. So right now we're at the state level. You're going to see enrollment in adult education. So right now we're looking at all enrollees. You can actually switch this to those that are GED seeking. So I'm just going to click that to show here. For this, we have about 21,900 between this time frame. So we're looking at fiscal years 2016 to 2018. So the next report will be 17 and 19. It's about split, almost 50-50 for gender. You can see what this looks like for race and ethnicity and adult basic education levels. So yeah, about 19% Hispanic, 61% white, 17% Black, and then 6% Asian. You can also see, again, how many are seeking GEDs, how many other enrollees there are total, and then the median age of these enrollees. So across the state, it's about 36 years old. Maybe that differs. I'm just going to choose a different county here. I chose Marion. You're going to see in Marion County, it's actually heavily males, almost 90%, average age 37, mostly white, 6% Hispanic. So you can see how all this information is right there in front of you. It's just a matter of, clicking and finding out. As we move on to outcomes, this is where you can see how our data system works. We've linked all these GED completers to post-secondary and workforce information. So this is going to help you understand, are they advancing in education and attainment? Are they, what are their WIOA measures? Are they working 2 quarters out, 4 quarters out? So right now we have it set at the local workforce area. So if you hover over one, you can see in the Bluegrass area, you had 3,266 GED enrollees. Of that, about 26% of them earn GEDs within 2 years of enrolling. You can also break this down by county if you wanted to by selecting that. But if I go back to the LWAs, you can see most of these GED earners that go on to post-secondary enroll at Jefferson Community and Technical, followed by Bluegrass, Somerset, Big Sandy, and Southeast Kentucky Community. Again, clicking any of these areas will filter. So it makes sense that if you earned your GED in the Bluegrass area, you're probably going to BCTC at the higher rate. So you can see specifically now how many GED earners there were from the Bluegrass, how many of those eventually enrolled into post-secondary, and how many hours they attempted in their first year of post-secondary. So, this is probably, these are probably people that might be going part-time and working as well. And as you scroll down, you'll get these employment and wages. So choosing an exit year, you can choose between 2016 and 2019. We have all 4 years selected at the moment. You can also select which local workforce area you'd like to look at. So we're looking at all years for across the state. You can see what Q2 and Q4 looks like for GED earners versus all other adult education enrollees. You can select different years if you wanted to, in 2018, 2019. So you can see, wages were different for GED earners in the latest year, as well as the percent employed were higher. And then lastly, you get these outcomes again for these GED earners. So this is again in 2019, you had that many exit in that area, the percent of GED earners that were employed within a year, and then and then another piece down here. So the number and percentage. If you ever want to print any of this out, so let's say you've decided, all right, I need information about the bluegrass, or maybe you need information about your county. So I've selected again Marion, get all of this updated information. If you scroll to the bottom, there's a download button. And when you click that, you have the option for an image, a PDF, or a PowerPoint. So that's going to put that in that format for you. So that's really what we have here. Just wanted to make you aware that the data exists. As we work with Dr. Gregory and his team, we'll also be making some small changes going forward for some additional information. So stay tuned.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Just like Scott said, so we're in the process of working with him and his team to be able to mitigate, I'm going to say, some of the functionality challenges with the care system. And we want to use their big brains, and we want to publish this data in a place where it is accessible for everyone. So we're working to do some things right now in real time to be able to capture that data on the KY Stats website. So there will be, so we can minimize these functionality challenges when people need to pull data, whether it's county, whether it's the local workforce board, or whether it is the local provider data covering a multitude of counties, which is things that the care system can't do at this time. So we're working with Scott and his team to be able to do that, to be more transparent and to give you all of the data you need to be the best decision makers that you can possibly be. So just like you said, stay tuned. And I appreciate you, Scott. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Right. So before I turn it over to you out in the state, I want to make one final announcement, and then we'll open it up for questions. And you can ask any question that is on your heart. I will do my best to respond in an appropriate and an intelligent manner. If I don't know, I'm not going to tap dance. I'm going to tell you I don't know. And then we'll have to move on to the next one. I'll take notes, and then I'll get back to you on that question. This is not the forum for grant questions. We already have a forum set up for that. So this is not the forum for that. We will maintain the current forum that we have in place as far as grant questions moving forward into fiscal year 23 and beyond. So if you have a grant question, then you can hold that. So you can call me, you can send me a message, and you can continue to ask questions in a manner in which we have been receiving and responding to those questions. The one last thing I wanted to mention is that we had an individual in the office here in Frankfurt who was recognized at the national level. Director Lori Looney was nominated for the Administrator of the Year. So we want to give her her flowers and make sure that she is recognized across the state. You all know her. She is exceedingly conscientious, very hard worker, intelligent young lady who brings a lot to the team, brings a lot to the state. She was recognized on the national level. So I just want to make that public so we can just give her her flowers and just say thank you so much, Lori, for all the things that you do and the way that you have set the standard and set the bar very high. So thank you, and we appreciate you. So when you see Lori next, possibly send her a message and just let her know just how thankful we are to have her on the team. So the floor is yours. If there are questions in the chat, I'm not able to see them. One, because I've had technical problems this morning, so I have someone working on my laptop. So I'm actually working off of my cell phone in my office. So I'm not able to navigate as easily through that, but
There's a question in the chat, Dr. Gregory, that asks about the stats, about KY stats, if it takes corrections into consideration.
So what is the context to that question? But do we know the context? I'm going to say yes. But if we had some further context, then perhaps we could provide a better response.
That's John from Maysville. John, would you like to weigh in?
Okay, so we can take that question down. I'm going to say yes. And we can reach out to John and get some further context, and then we can respond to him and figure out exactly in which context he was asking that question, and we will get him the answer that he needs.
We got some questions about the logo.
Okay, and they are?
Let's see. I'm losing it in the chat. Okay, here's one that says, will you expand on your on what your vision is for Kentucky adult education? And then also a question of, do we have a new logo?
Okay. Vision. The vision is service. The vision is service. So we want to serve as many people in the best manner that we can. So let's look at this in totality. So adult education. So what is an adult learner? So in the state of Kentucky, it is an individual who is 18 years old and older. Now there is a proposal for a law that's on the books for individuals in alternative schools and perhaps that are being homeschooled to be able to receive the services that we have at the age of 17. And then there are also specific circumstances where persons who are 16 can receive our services. But nonetheless, we're talking about individuals who are 18 and older. Now, so we're not tied to the performance measurements, because if we serve people, the people that we are supposed to serve, if we serve them, then we will make a determination as to whether or not they need a GED, as to whether or not they need to transition into the workforce, as to whether or not they want to go to college, as to whether or not they need some additional skills to get the things that they want and where they need to be. So if we focus on service, then these numbers will come. So yes, we are concerned about the numbers because the state is and the federal government is. But if we focus on service and serving people, then all of that will come. All of that will come. So if we fall in love with the process of serving, then the performance will come. So that is the conceptual construct of not my vision, but the vision while I'm sitting in this seat, and I have and I stay in close contact with the cabinet to make sure that I'm moving in the direction that they want me to go in. And as long as they continue to say yes, then we will continue to move in this direction. When they say no, then we'll stop and we will readjust. But it's all about service. It's all about service. And if we serve, if we focus on service, if we focus on quality service, just like I said, if we focus on providing the best. Now, I'm going to give you some context on this. So I had an opportunity to meet a gentleman, and I've said this previously in certain forms. I had an opportunity to meet Dr. Robert L. Green 2 years ago. He is an extraordinary man. He is 86 years old. He was the director of, he walked with Dr. King. Walked with Dr. King. He served with Dr. King. He did a multitude of things. He has been a college dean. He has been a college president. He has done extraordinary things at Michigan State University. But I had the chance to sit down and talk to him, and he gave me more than 2 hours of his time. And one of the many books that he has written was titled Expect the Most and Provide the Best. And he focuses on the concept that if we expect the most out of students, and the people that we serve, they are students, as we are all students. We are all lifelong learners. We're all students of life. So we are all students, lifelong learners. If we expect the most from our students, then we must provide the best. And that is where we are. That is where we are headed. That is where this train is going in adult education. And it has already left the track. It has already left the station. So the train is moving and it's picking up steam and it's going faster and faster and faster. And it's not because of me, that's because of you, because you do the heavy lifting. We just try to give you the things that we think that you need to be able to serve the folks that we're charged to serve in Kentucky. But this is about service. Just to wrap it up in a nutshell, it is service, service, service. And service will lead to performance. And the second question was regarding the logo and the name change. So we have actually Kentucky Skills U, or KY Skills U, from a naming convention, has actually sunset. We are Kentucky Adult Education, KYAE. We have a new logo and a new naming convention that will be officially released. Right now, we have a tentative date in March. I'm sorry, May. In May, sometime in the middle of May. So we have to go through a synchronization process and go through the governor's office, because we intend to have the biggest, most powerful launch that we certainly can have. And that is going to invite, and that is going to include the leader of the state of Kentucky at this time, which is the governor. So we're shooting for the middle of May right now. And once that is finalized, we will disseminate that out across the network. And so we'll move forward to officially launch the new logo, the new name, and we will give the governor and the other leaders in the state of Kentucky the opportunity to move us forward. So yes, we have changed. Kentucky Skills U has sunset. It has not been officially launched statewide yet, but we are no longer being recognized as KY Skills U. Now, mind you, there are still some things that have KY Skills U on them as we go through the process of with signage and different types of things they associated with the new naming convention and with the new logo. But we're deep in that process of making the transition and modifying things. So are there more questions?
David Sturgill asked about ELL, and it's I've lost it in the chat. I'm sorry. Did someone else have a question?
Heather, I'm looking right at David's question, and he says we need more useful data for ELL as well. I would encourage KYAE to discuss this more with Kentucky Stats.
Okay, we need more useful data for ELL.
Yes, sir.
All right, we will put that on the list. We just made a modification to some data sets that we sent to them, so they can make our data visible on their site, and we can shape it in a manner in which we operate. Because right now, the care system is a county-centric system, but the local provider network has transitioned to a regional model and a local provider network, which currently has 27 local providers. And we are no longer on the county system of 120 counties, but that is the way that the care system is set up. That's another conversation. But I have that noted, and we will definitely engage the people at KY Stats with that. And I will definitely loop David Sturgill in, but if he wants to, so he can give some greater context so we can get exactly what he's looking for as far as those data sets.
Just a few comments about the logo launching. Tammy was hoping to purchase the materials sooner. And Verinda Rose says, thank you for the change. We are Kentucky Adult Education more than a GED. Wonderful. And then John clarified on what he meant about corrections earlier, and basically same thing that what David is saying is that some more accessible corrections information on KY Stats would be good.
Got it. So we're certainly going to do those things. As far as the naming convention and the logo change, so let me make this statement. And I try to choose my words advisedly and be sensitive to everyone, particularly those who have served the state of Kentucky previous or prior to my coming. I certainly appreciate where this office has been and where this process has been in the state of Kentucky. Most of you have more knowledge about the adult ed in your pinky finger than I will ever have. So please know that I recognize that I am not an adult ed subject matter expert. So I do appreciate the skills you and the logo and all of the thoughts and the concepts that went into that, but a decision has been made to move forward and to move on and to do some different things. That is not to say that that was not the right thing to do. The cabinet has made the decision that we will move on at this time, and we will. And I think that you will have great success, not me, because folks like John Gregory come and go. You are the ones that do the heavy lifters. You are the ones that serve the citizens that we're charged to serve. You were the one that moved this state forward. So we just want to do all that we can to support you from Frankfurt.
Peg Russell had a question about CARES, if there was any kind of updates. Everyone is still seeing some irregularities there. I'm
just gonna make a general statement about CARES. If you're talking about real time, I know they had some challenges last week, and I know that Mr. Richard Tucker was in tune with that as far as dealing with the folks at the cabinet level to try to mitigate those things. So if that question is something about what just took place last week and some of the malfunctions last week, I know they're working through that. From CARES, from a comprehensive standpoint, there have been discussions at the cabinet to look at a new adult ed system. I know if you look at the budget, there appears to be funds in there for a new adult ed system. Now, nothing has been finalized, but I recognize some of the functionality challenges of CARES. Not that it's not a good system, but it's just like every other database. If it is not shaped to the operations of the organization in the manner in which things are working in real time, then it is not to the standard that it should be. So this is not a jab at CARES, the system. This is that we need to be set up in a manner in which we are conducting business, and we can't tailor the way that we serve people based on the capabilities of a database, whether that's CARES or any other system. We use the data to make decisions. We don't allow the reports in a particular system to govern how we do business. So I think that's been some of what has been taking place. Not quite sure. But if that was the case, we will no longer do that because that's just not the way you do business. A database is just like any other database that exists across the globe. You shape it and you use it to best benefit the organization. And that's the way that we're going to move forward. And if we need to try to make some changes to CARES, if possible, then we will. And so, like I said, the cabinet is in discussions of exploring all options, which includes a new system of record. So we'll see how that shapes out. And we should be able to get a decision on that sometime in the near future.
Dr. Gregory, there's another question from Peg. Since performance now follows region and not county, can some consideration be given to regional budgets and not requiring county budget amounts?
Okay, so I don't think that we do county budget now. I think you probably have county line items from a regional perspective. And I know this was a similar question that was asked during the second quarter meeting. And is Terry Pruitt on the line specifically? I think that's already covered, but I will yield to him as far as subject matter expertise, as far as the budget is concerned.
Yes,
Terry?
that's correct. We have, we're allocating a certain contractual amount to a physical agent, and the physical agents are then putting that amount into a county level invoicing system. Our intent was to go to a more regional basis. We're still unable to get there with the IT support that we currently have and the system we currently have. We're working on it. Still our intent to look at a more regional basis, but the finance module is the record of invoicing, but it all rolls up into a physical agent basis, not a county basis. A program that receives the contract can put any amount in any county they choose to spend money.
Thank you, sir. Are there any more questions?
Yes, we've got, if you all decide to move toward a new KYAE system database, will you seek feedback from CARES users in KYAE about what new system should include?
Will we seek
So-
input from
Yes,
parent?
will there be like will we get opinions from the field on what would be needed aspects of the program?
Yes, but with a qualifier, yes. So I guess the short answer is yes, but just because a recommendation is made, and that includes me as far as going up to the cabinet, it doesn't mean that it's going to be a part of the process. But yes, we certainly will. We're going to go through a comprehensive process if the decision is to move to a new system. So we're not going to do it in a vacuum. We're certainly going to seek the feedback of folks who actually use the system, of users. And we will make a determination as to what a new system, as far as functionality, needs to look like to best support what we do. So I think a significant component of a new system will be the capability to make changes to the system. That's some of the challenges with the care system, and I don't fully have an understanding of that story because I wasn't here. But I do know a little bit about that. So yes, we will seek the guidance, and we will take some recommendations and some feedback from users. Absolutely.
Dr. Gregory, this is David Sturgill. I just wanted to echo again the last question about input. I think the biggest concern that we have with CARES is the reporting functionality. So perhaps even a work group that could discuss the types of reports that would be helpful to us as providers, not so much on what product that we purchase, but just the reporting system itself.
We can do that.
Thank you.
We can do that, and we don't have to wait until a decision is made as far as whether they're going to go to a new system or not. We can do that now, and we can take that information and give it to the cabinet and say, hey, look, this is what we need. And if the current system is not able to give us that, which is not, or you wouldn't have asked this question, and I already know from going through CARES myself, it's not something that CARES is able to do at this point in time, then that could be the push to say, hey, look, we need to transform and get to a new system. But I think that process is already working, so we can start that working group, if you will. And David, if you want to lead that off, and if you want to be the point person for that, then we can certainly do that.
I'd be happy to. Thank you.
Great.
Dr. Gregory, this is Peg Russell, and I'd like to circle back to Terry Pruitt if I could for a minute. Terry, I know you remember that we ran a pilot project where we did not have to stipulate county amounts. I just want to be clear, are you saying that there is a possibility, and particularly with reinventing or a new database, I am making the assumption that finance will also be a part of that. Are we saying that we have to stipulate county amounts now because of the functionality of CARES, and that may not be a requirement in the future with a new system?
Actually, the finance module part is, we've called it CARES, but they're actually two separate systems, and they're all maintained by the cabinet IT folks. If you'll recall, when we moved from the Council on Post-Secondary Education, the person that developed that system did not come with us, and we were reliant on the cabinet IT folks to jump in, understand the system, and maintain it as it was already in place. It was our intent at that time to go to a regional model where you could put in a regional budget.
Right.
But I don't think we're much farther down the road in setting that up. And I don't really recall the pilot you're talking about where you didn't have to do the county.
I was in the pilot. I know Sherry Stacy's on the line, and so was South Central. So, or not South, yeah, Sky CTC. So instead of having 5 county budgets, I had one large budget with the mandated line items, and it made it much easier to administer, to see where we needed to make adjustments, and it was tied to performance. I don't know if Sherry also wants to address that. I know Brian Becker is no longer with us, but instead of 5 county budgets of core and federal, I had one large budget and could expend those dollars in the best way needed to provide service. And it was a much cleaner model.
Well, as I said, our intent is to move to a regional reporting system. We will have to engage the cabinet people to see where we are in potentially getting that in place. Not likely that significant of a change could be in place by July.
Got it. I just wanted to know that it was still on the radar somewhere.
It was our intent when we transitioned through the reorg to the cabinet from CPE, and it is still on our radar and still our intent.
Thank you, Terry.
This is Sherry Stacy. I just wanted to piggyback on Peg by saying how much neater and the ability was for us to do our budgets back when we had the regional model. It was much cleaner, as well as it kind of helped us to focus more on our program related activities versus the budget all the time. You know, it was the budgets take a long time. I'm not complaining about that, but I'm just being real.
Okay, so that's all good discussion. But let me say this about the budget from a comprehensive standpoint. We don't have a budget problem, so we don't have a fiscal problem. Trust me. The state of Kentucky supports adult education more than 95% of the states across the country. Okay, so this is a federal program, and the federal match mandate is 25% of the federal dollar. So the state of Kentucky normally gets from the federal, as far as federal funds, between $9 and $10 million. The general budget, appropriations from the state of Kentucky, is normally somewhere around $20 million. Now you have larger states like Texas, Ohio, and I can go on and on and on and on and on, that states only meet the minimum required match that are significantly larger than Kentucky. Ohio, for example. Ohio has a total, they have a population of just shy of 12 million people. Kentucky has a population of shy of 4.5 million people. Ohio receives only the minimum match. So we don't have a budget problem, and we can work, and I'm working with some folks in the cabinet to do some things as we move forward. But resources, not the problem. Now, from a technical standpoint, as that piece I get, you know, the regional model, vice the county model, but from a resource standpoint, Kentucky probably is #1 in the nation as far as supporting adult education. Now, the challenge that we have is we don't execute the money. And we obligate it in the contracts, but the money comes back, so we don't spend the money. So consequently, what happens is that we carry over funds from fiscal year, this past fiscal year, to the tune of $6 million. That's just state funds. So we do not have a resource problem. Kentucky is rich as far as resources in adult education. And I listen to people on the national stage just talk about, hey, look, you know, we need this, we need that. Kentucky doesn't need that from the Commonwealth. We are very well supported in Kentucky. So let's certainly be conscious of that. And but just like I said, the funds are obligated in the contract. So we have a challenge now with our federal funds. The federal government wants to know if we're going to be able to spend $6 million in federal funds that have gone across a period of 27 months. And I need to respond to them. So on both sides, both federal and state, we don't have a resource problem. We just don't. We just don't. I had some questions coming from a proposed bill that is on the table now during session, that specifically has an impact on adult education and some requirements for us. And I was asked what is going to be the fiscal challenges to do that. And there are none, because we have money. We have money. We just have to execute the money in serving the citizens of Kentucky. So from a comprehensive standpoint, we're sitting better than all of the states in the union from a budgetary and a fiscal standpoint. We just need to spend our money in serving the people. But I do get the technical components of the county versus the regional model. And yes, that's still on the table, and we will continue to work that until we get it right. So let me ask this question while we have a lull. Is it, and again, I'm still working on my cell phone because my laptop is being worked on. Is there someone from the cabinet on? Is Dr. Price, ma'am, are you on? Perhaps if she is, I want to give her an opportunity to speak if she chooses. Okay. Are there any other questions? All right. If there are none, if all hearts and minds are clear, I really thank you for the things that you do. I thank you for your time this morning. Please enjoy the rest of your day and enjoy your weekend.
Dr. Gregory?
Yes, ma'am.
This is Susan. It looks like there was a question from Tina Cook. I'm not sure if that got answered about whether or not there would be a focus group for the implementation guide.
A focus group for the implementation guide. I'm probably gonna need some more context on that. We are. That whole process is being transformed. Rewritten is not a strong enough word. There was a lot of outdated content, a lot of things that should not have been in there, a lot of things that were outside of compliance at the state and both the federal level, and it still remained a part of that document. So that is being transformed. We put together a group here in Frankfurt, and they have been working very hard, led by Ms. Whitney Jenkins, bringing us in conjunction with the state and cabinet standards, and based on the federal guidelines and based on where we are going, which is consistent with the strategic plan for the cabinet itself. So we're deep in the process of doing that. I have received some comments from some folks out across the network, and I have pushed those to Whitney Jenkins. But we certainly do welcome any type of feedback. But I'm going to tell you, this is based on where the cabinet is going, where they see a adult education in the state, because this is the cabinet is the grantee. So the cabinet is the grantee to the federal government. So we're transforming that whole process, but we will take feedback. So we still have some time, but that whole entire thing is going to be transformed. So it's going to look significantly different. There are going to be different requirements. There are going to be different standards. Not because I say so, it is because that is the direction that we're going. And it's going to be up to date. Now, this is the point. This is a living document. This is a living document. So we can make some modifications to it whenever, because it is not law, but it is a policy of this cabinet, and we can make changes to it. So just because, let's say it will be published moving forward as the fiscal year starts. So that is not to say that we can't make some changes once we're already into the fiscal year, because it's policy. And you can do that with policy because it's not law.
And Dr. Gregory, there are also some questions about advertising and promotional items, some suggestions. about maybe billboards or TV and radio advertisements, and some questions about what kind, if any, of promotional items will we be providing to the centers with the new logo.
Okay, so yes, yes, and yes to all of that. So there will be guidance coming down as far as all of that is concerned. We're working with the cabinet, Ms. Rosalind Harvey. She is a complete superstar in that space. She's done a multitude of things down in Florida and all over the country, and she has brought her expertise to the state of Kentucky and to this cabinet. So we're working with her. So it is yes to all of that. Yes to all of that, and you will have some guidelines, and we do have resources to utilize to maximize this opportunity as far as visibility. Because just like I stated, our challenge is not a resource challenge, it's an enrollment challenge. The biggest problem, well, one of the biggest problems that we have is enrollment. Now we have millions of people across the Commonwealth of Kentucky that need our services. But we have an enrollment problem. So we're going to try to mitigate that, not totally, but we're going to try to set the conditions to mitigate that with some outreach, recruitment, and significantly greater levels of visibility on all different levels through all different mediums, but television, radio, social media, print, and everything in between. Now, I will say this. So I got a call yesterday, and I won't mention this person's name that called me, but they have some wonderful things going on as far as marketing is concerned. And you will see it, I guess, so when they launch it. But I was pleased to hear the things that they talked about. And this is is one of you. This is a call I got from a director, and they have, access to some global people that they're going to leverage and maximize to bring, some visibility to what they're doing in the spaces that they serve. So I think that's wonderful. So I was pleased to receive that call yesterday. So things are happening. Things are happening. Stay tuned. But Ms. Rosalind Harvey, as well as Janet Slayton, they're doing a wonderful job in setting all these things in place. And in conjunction with the name change and the logo launch, will be what I'm going to call a significant campaign from here at the state level, as well as push down to the regional level as far as the network is concerned, to be able to maximize the folks that we want to reach. So not only people we serve, but people who recognize that a adult education in Kentucky is important. And we understand that there are different things that are specific to different regions and counties across the state, whether
Hey
it's
Siri, how do you spell unique?
or things of that nature. So yes, yes, and yes to all of those.
Dr. Gregory, David put something in the chat. He said he'd like to acknowledge Natalie Cummins for her great work in assisting us whenever we need it. We have had so many unique situations lately, and Natalie has gone above the call of duty to help us offer solutions to our students.
Great, great. We celebrate.
And I would like to piggyback on that and say that Benita Wilhoit is also a true champion behind the scenes and does great work as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We celebrate both of them and the things that they do in the GED space specifically. If we don't have any further questions, let me say this and then we'll sign off. I know during the second quarter meeting, we had some discussion about the CCNs. And I stated that I wasn't quite clear as to the duties and responsibilities of that group of staff members that serve people in Kentucky. That was my lacking. That was not something that the staff here was doing. They're doing a wonderful job. That was my lack of knowledge as to the process, and me being a little slow as to trying to figure out how they fit in. This is what I will tell you though, that as well as a lot of things is being transformed, and as we roll out moving forward into the next fiscal year, things will be different. Things will be different. Once again, not because I say that they're going to be different, it's because we need them to be different, because we have to get at this enrollment problem, and we have to get to serving more people in Kentucky, because that's what the cabinet and the state wants us to do, and that's what the citizens in Kentucky need. A significant component of the folks in Kentucky, I believe, and I could be wrong, just don't know the services that we offer at no cost. So we want to be intentional in that space and do that. And the navigators, as well as other significant staff, will be a big component of what we do moving forward. And so when I say moving forward, that's moving forward starting from right now. But we will do some different things as far as the documentation in our policy moving forward into fiscal year 23. So if we don't have any further questions, and if we do, we'll certainly stay on.
Dr. Gregory, this is Joanna. There was another question regarding the marketing material. Opal had this question: can we give input on the types of promotional items if the state purchases them for us?
Yes, we're working on a system. We're working on a menu system that the local provider network will indeed have the ability to have some input as to what they exactly need specifically for their areas. Now, there will be some statewide products, but there will be the opportunity to kind of shape some things based on need for a particular geographical area.
Thank you.
All right. Okay. So if we're good, once again, so have a wonderful rest of the day. Have a blessed weekend, and God bless you. Thank you.
We'll leave the chat open for a few minutes, and then I'll create, Gloria and I will create a document if we find that there are questions that. Thank you everyone for joining us.